I'm going to give you my next 30 days of predictions for the coronavirus. Who am I? A social dynamics coach who's traveled the world for 5 years, teaching 100,000 people face-to-face and about 4 million online. I've interacted with every single society socially, learned it, studied it, and taught it to others.
If I get corona, I get corona. At the end of the day, I'm not going to let it stop me from partying.
It sucks, and I'm from New Orleans, so this really sucks. However, we're going to enjoy ourselves. We having day parties all day. It's my birthday, St. Patrick's Day. Turn up.
In 10 days, Miami will be the break point of the virus in the USA because all the students that were down there on spring break were uninhibited. And they're going to go back to their student cities, places like Michigan, Yale, Harvard, and they're going to spread the virus amongst their friends and their families. People will be affected will be their loved ones, their relatives, and the elderly that they have at home. The first industries that are already being hit are the airlines and the hotels because nobody is traveling. But other industries that depend on travel will also be hit. These are supposed to be independent industries, like the Uber driver who has no one to drive because of social distancing, or the Airbnb guy who can't rent his place because no one's traveling.
Goldman Sachs now estimates that this week 2.25 million Americans filed for their first week of unemployment. If that estimate is accurate, it would be 8 times last week's figure and an all-time record.
Right now, the USA ranks its 5th or 6th spot for the coronavirus at about 200,000 people on this day of recording. However, it will go to the 3rd or 4th place because Iran and China will slow down and have active measures. However, the USA is so much larger, and just by the numbers, it will expand to 3rd or 4th position in the ranking. Their immune systems will be shot and the infections will go up due to people's low immune system. They are staying indoors, no longer exercising, and they are stressed. They're no longer getting vitamin Ds. In addition to that, people are going to be unemployed. And because of the unemployment, what do? They're going to be stressed out and turn to drugs and alcohol, which will further lower their immune response. People will also be influenced by psychotic depressions and anxieties due to the lack of dopamine in their system, especially in the ego society of the Western world, where we're constantly used to stimulation of going to clubs, parties, being important and special. We're no longer getting that, so where are they going to get that from? Nowhere. In about 30 days, we're going to see businesses that hold inventory start to have a lot of trouble. I'm not talking about inventory that you can just stand there like boxes. I'm talking about perishable inventory that expires. These places that have pet stores, what are they going to do with these animals? Think about that. In 30 days, they're going to have a very, very hard time financially, and they're also going to probably go under. Because of that, people will start to have a financial panic. They will take their cash out of the bank and start to hold cash. And therefore, the banks have less cash to leverage for their own investments. In about 40 days' time, some governments around the world will have to enforce social distancing because people are just tired of it. They'll have to call in the National Guard or the Navy or use the military to make a curfew on the streets and make sure people are in their houses during different times of the day. Several governments such as Canada and the US have announced that they're going to give spending about $1,000 to each person because they are underemployed. That will happen about 50 days from now.
We're going to do something that gets money to them as quickly as possible. That may not be an accurate way of doing it because obviously some people shouldn't be getting checks for $1,000, and we'll have a pretty good idea by the end of the day what we're going to be doing.
What will happen is when people receive the money, they will go into panic and spend the money based on the old habits that they already have of spending money badly. People are in credit card debt. People are living paycheck to paycheck. When they get that influence of cash or influx of cash, they're not going to spend it better than they did before. They're going to spend it based on their old habits in panic. So they'll run to the stores and spend all the money and buy up all the things in the stores and supplies, which will therefore cause a second round of panic when all the stores are sold out of basic necessities again. In about 60 days' time, we're going to see the death of the first well-known politician, actor, or musician. The numbers are just inevitable. It's going to happen. Around 60 days, we probably have 2 to 3 million people infected already. And some of them are going to be elderly, particularly politicians, musicians that are well-known, that are icons, or actors that are really, really well-established and are legendary. Once this happens to them, we're going to have a big shock nationwide or worldwide because we think it can't happen to us. Think of the Kobe Bryant situation or a Michael Jackson situation, but on a different age scale. There's an impression that people will have more babies than ever because they're home just, hooking up. That's not the case. In fact, there will be more abortions than ever. People will want to have babies due to logical reasons of being together in isolation and knowing each other. However, there's going to be economic concern and health concern. If people have either just economic or just a health concern, they might have children. But when there's an economic crisis and a health crisis at the same time, the future is very unreliable, and it's unlikely that people will want to have children in that condition. Fellow humans. Listen to the connotation of those words, the meaning of those words. Fellow, as we're all in this together, and humans, as we are not above gods or acting as gods. We are human together. And those words are very special. It means a lot, especially in this time, this day and age, this moment of crisis and opportunity and uncertainty. We are fellows in this boat ride of life together, this journey, whether it goes positive or negative. We are all this together, and we're humans because that gives us special abilities. The human nature, the human divine nature you have gives you special abilities that you probably have even forgotten as you would go to the store and get a Snickers bar late at night. You forgot about those innate abilities within you, and they're very special. And now, more than ever, they'll be called upon. Human nature is so important. Let's take a moment to talk about our friend Bradley, the kid out in spring break. Good old Bradley, Slutter or Sluter, I don't know how to pronounce his name. Right now, you probably watch him and you think, what an insecure jerk. What a kid who just doesn't care about anybody else and just is totally selfish. But you know what? We've all had Bradley moments in our life. Every single one of us. You watching this and me speaking to you right now. We've had Bradley moments in our lives. And I know I've certainly had a few that I'm not proud of. And if I told you about it, you'd be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm watching this guy or listening to his stream of thought. And I'm sure there's some hidden Bradley moments that you've had in your closet that if I were to find out about and your friends knew about, you probably wouldn't be happy about it or proud about it as well. But he had his publicly. And we got to take a moment as human beings that we are to think about what he's done for his life right now. For the next 30, 40 years, when he goes to get a job and his name is Googled on the internet, this is what comes up. I'm gonna party, bro, spring break. If I get corona, I get corona. And of course the media is gonna take that and make it this big, huge thing, which was, in that moment, it's probably a sentence that he said. He probably looked around himself and saw 20,000 other people doing the exact same thing, the same frame of mind, but he had the excitement to get on camera and say it. And in that moment of getting on camera, he didn't realize what he was doing. He didn't realize how he was taking his whole life and changing the projection of his life and changing his family situation, whose family is now probably disrespected and feels shamed and maybe even has concerns of their own health. Maybe they have concerns of their own safety. God forbid that happens. And that's the situation he's in. But what I want to approach you to do is be a human being and look at that with some empathy and some sympathy and say, you know what? I've done some stuff in my life that wasn't so great as well. And say, we created the Bradleys. Bradleys didn't come out of nowhere. We helped to create Bradleys with our frat culture, with our culture of like YOLO. YOLO, bro, you only live once. We helped to create that culture when we said, America is the greatest country in the world and there's no flaws. I mean, I'm Canadian and we have a great socialist system, let's be honest, with healthcare and stuff like that. When America ignored its just grassroots problems that it had and it was the greatest country in the world, that attitude continues. And it fosters over into different actions and behaviors and feelings of being invincible, like the world can't touch you, like no matter what happens, you're great and you're safe and you're strong. But we're all human beings at this moment. Humans just being. That's what we are right now. So we got to take this moment right now to not bash the Bradleys that we've created, but to show some empathy and educate them. And say, hey, ignorance isn't bliss, bro. Find that person that you notice making incorrect comments about the coronavirus, incorrect comments about society, and help educate them and lift them up to be better. Because we all need each other's support to be better. Sometimes we're not. We fall short. In business, there's a term that when the market goes down, somebody gets profit off of it. Whenever there's a big catastrophe, there's a opportunity. And I don't know what this term is called. I haven't been able to find it in any business book. I wish I knew what it was. If you know what this term is called, let me know. Whenever something goes to an extreme, there's a opportunity in the other direction. And so think about the opportunities that we have right now. Think about the opportunity you have right now in this time. So when the world's going in one extreme direction, there's another direction to have an opportunity. For sure, somebody's profiting off of toilet paper. Somebody's profiting off of masks. Somebody's profiting off of that. Somebody's profiting off of alcohol, right? But at the same time, airlines are struggling. Hotels are struggling. Transport is struggling. Tourism is struggling. Catering is struggling. Think about people who work in the wedding planning industry. They're not going to have any jobs for a while. No one's getting married in this condition, right? So while that's happening, there's an opportunity on the other side. The opportunity that's happening is not always going to be financial in the situation. It's not always going to be like a business opportunity. This opportunity that's going to be happening right now is going to be an internal opportunity, a spiritual opportunity, an opportunity to change your life in ways like you could never even imagine. I want to go through those opportunities with you right now. Let's think about the first one, your time. You are no longer going to be devoted to serving a company or a business 40 hours a week, making somebody else rich. You've been doing that in the past. Focus on achieving someone else's goal that wasn't even yours. The boss that you worked for, the company that you worked at. That was their dream, it wasn't yours. And they took 40 hours of your week, your life. 40 hours a week. You traded your life existence, which you can never get back. You were dying every single day. We all were from the day that we were born. We were exchanging our life value, every single hour of that life for a dollar sign. Now, if you ask me, that time that you gave up was priceless because you can't put a dollar value on something that's not infinite. It has a cutoff time. So now you have an opportunity this day, right here, in this moment, to decide what you want to do with that 40 hours. If you're not working, or if you're working from home, you can even have a little side hustle. You can now take this 40 hours and get your life back. You can buy back your own slavery. And that is priceless. What is the opportunity to do that? You know, if you ask anybody that's been in a rocking chair, 80 years old, 90 years old, when they're in a retirement home, and they look back at their life, you say, what do you wish you could change? No one ever says, bro, I wish I could work more. No one says that. They all say, I wish I was more time with my family. I wish I was home. I wish I used my time differently. You now have an opportunity to get that time back. The opportunities right now are more than they were when everything was great. They're even bigger than than we were before. So here's the opportunity you have with your time. Decide what you want to do with it. Get in touch with your family again. Your long lost uncle, that's the alcoholic. Your aunt, who you just don't get along with because she took the house from your mom. That one. Reach out to that cousin you always thought was a delinquent and used to beat you up when you were little. Now's the time to not even just restart those relationships, but to start them again brand new from scratch. Finally, press the reset button on troubled relationships. An ex that you did wrong to, an ex that you were a jerk to, that you broke that person's heart and they didn't deserve it. And you know that it wasn't right, but you were younger back then and you did some shit that was foul. Now is your chance to reach out and say, we're all human beings. And at this moment, I'm trying to be human. Let's reach out to each other. And I want to see how you're doing. And I know you might not want to hear that from me, but it's important that I say that to you. And if you're willing to accept my apology or my reaching out and asking how you're doing, then it'd be my pleasure to have a conversation. I just want to know that you're okay. You have a moment right now to communicate that, to start those relationships all over again, to be a brand new person. It's priceless, man. You have an opportunity to press the reset button on your life. If you're not going to do it for yourself, at least do it for the people that are sick right now, that don't have that opportunity of time, that God forbid don't know how much life they have left, how much time they have left. What do you think they would want to do right now? They'd want to do what you can do to reach out to people. They'd want to be able to repair relationships and restart them anew. They'd want that. You got to do it. No day is guaranteed to any of us. Let's think about your financial situation. As I mentioned, with time up until now, you've been depending on a job, a paycheck. Maybe you were excited to go to work, or maybe you weren't. But at the end of the day, you were not in control. You always said to yourself, I'm going to be an entrepreneur one day, just like Gary Vee or Grant Cardone preach, or any of these, Tim Ferriss 4-Hour Workweek people preach. Like, I'm going to do that one day. That should be me. Man, that ain't for me. I don't have the time. I'm busy with family and the kids maybe, and I'm busy with all the stuff I got to manage. And I got to run downtown. My car is here, and I drive an hour to work, and now you don't have that. Where are your excuses? Where they've always been, internal. Time was never the excuse. Leonardo had 24 hours in a day. Michelangelo had 24 hours in a day. Rosa Parks had 24 hours in a day. Everybody had 24 hours in a day. So that's never been the real excuse. The real excuse has been in here. But now, and I'll get into this in a moment, you get the chance to sit at home with your excuses and really pull them apart. You have the chance now to say, you know what? I'm going to do something about it for real. To turn your life around. Become the leader of your own destiny. Finally start that soap business you said you were going to do. Learn HTML, bro. Learn HTML. Learn PSP. Create that Shopify website. Start that blog. Get a camera from Amazon. Start that YouTube channel. Do it. Do it. Because now you have the chance to devote that 10,000 hours of mastery to your craft and get a head start on it. It would have taken you a year or several years to do 10,000. You can shave off half the learning curve and do it faster. Okay? These are some of the epiphanies I want to share with you, because time is of the essence. It's so of the essence. I want to see you be in control of your own future and your own destiny. I don't want to see somebody else be able to run it. My greatest fear for you is that you go back to how life was in February. Remember how it was in February? You go back to that. But you don't do it now. You do it in, May. In May, you go back to how life was in February, and you're the same person and nothing's changed. That would be a fucking shitter, man. That would be crappy. That would be the biggest crime. That people were sick. People made sacrifices and stayed home, social distancing, for you to do nothing with it. That would be the biggest crime, to disrespect the time that humanity has put in to changing the world right now. So do something about it. Do something about it. My goal right now, one of my goals is to do live video conferencing calls a lot more often. I've started them on Instagram recently. About 500 people a day have been joining that. We're talking about just the quarantine life, growing out the beards and the situations of being quarantined and what that's like. And we've been talking about what it's like to just be living this life. And I'm there with you every single day talking about this and being a friend in your home and helping you socialize and stay mentally fit during this time of crisis. And I want to continue doing that. I've been doing it on Instagram. I'm doing it on Facebook as well. We're going to start doing them on YouTube. And so I'm here for you. I got your back. I'm in your corner during this uncertain time. And if you're feeling like you have a lot of anxiety about what you're going to do and you want to work out a strategy or a plan for that, I also challenge you to take the opportunity to jump on one of the coaching calls with me. We have those available. We do them every single week for usually a period of 60 days with my students. And these calls are usually pretty expensive, but we have them free available to you right now. So do that while you can. I don't know how many spots we have available, especially in this time when everybody's home, not going out. People will be picking up the phone and making these calls to us. So while they're still available, you can go ahead and you can click the link. We'll put the link here so you can check it out. And just fill out the application, a few quick questions. And while you fill out those questions, it tells us more about you and your life, what your challenges are, what your goals are, and we can sit with you then on the phone for about 45 minutes and go over those challenges you're having and come up with a strategy so you can have a great social life and pursue your career life and find out what your talents are and exactly how to apply those talents to your career. So do that now while it's fresh in your mind. Don't wait. Do not wait. Do it now, okay? Because somebody else is doing it and taking your spot from you. It's all about seizing the opportunity when it's there. Let's talk about another opportunity that you have right now. You were planning maybe to go on a trip, to travel, to see some friends, to go to another city, go to another country, hang out on the beach. And you wanted to do that. That was your plan. I want to encourage you to do something else. I want to encourage you not to travel outside. I want to encourage you to take the journey within and go on a different kind of trip. I'm not talking about mushrooms. I'm talking about an exploratory trip. Things that you have now been ignoring for so long, you have a chance to look at them in the light. Just like this. Imagine it. This is you. You have to look at yourself and say, am I happy with who I am? Is this right here who I want to be? That's what you got an opportunity to do right now. Before, maybe there were some things that you covered up and you didn't really look at. But now, you can't go outside with social distancing. You're inside your house. You're inside your room. What are you going to do? It's no surprise that when people go to jail and they're incarcerated, they find God. There's no surprise about that because they're sitting there for days and weeks on end with themselves. So you're going to look at yourself and say, man, am I happy with who I am? Is this who I want to be? And there's going to be some parts that you're like, no, you're not. That's okay, because at least you're looking at them. You're aware of them now. This right here, I'm not really happy about this. This right here, I'm not really proud about that. But now you have time for yourself. Because back before, what were you doing? You were just running away from yourself every chance you got. It's Friday. Do I want to read a book? Nah, I want to go out and party with the boys. That could have been good. That could have helped you relax. But at the same time, you were losing a little bit of yourself doing that if you had used it as an excuse. Could have been pornography. Could have been alcohol. Could have been drugs. Could have been video games. Now, again, people make tons of money from StarCraft and, Call of Duty tournaments. Some people do, but if you're playing them as an excuse or a way to escape, then it's not really the right way of using it. I'm sure you can agree to that. And if you don't, that's fine as well. So this is a conversation. I'm trying to let you know some thoughts and open your mind to what's in there. What I'm telling you is this. You have an opportunity right now to be a better person and be who you want to be, to really focus your personal power. I know for myself and my clients that I've worked with, some of the best changes we've had in our life have come from when we focus that personal power. I know before I started instructing and touring the world, I used to sit down every single morning and do a ritual, okay? My ritual was this. Actually, the alarm clock would go, and I would do some meditation while still in bed. The alarm would be going with some motivational music and quotes. I'd hop down, do 20 push-ups, then 20 crunches. And after that, I'd sit and I'd read a book for about 10 minutes. Then I'd finally leave my room, come out, and write out daily affirmations that I've written every single day on a piece of paper, manually with my hand. I'd do that every single day. And then I'd have a smoothie with blueberries, and it was some green juice in it as well, and some kale, okay? And then once I did that, I was finally ready to start the day. And I was focused on my personal power. I harnessed my determination and my selfishness, and I harnessed the ability to really just take care of myself and to have a very high vibration state of mind. Doing that daily was one of the best things I've ever done in my life. So you have the opportunity now to focus your personal power. Do that. Because there's no better time than now. You can literally change your life and be a new person right now. And then here's the biggest epiphany of all. We have an opportunity as a society at this moment to completely change the face of human beings and the projection that we're going in. We can change that once and for all. Right now, when a crisis hits us, we can continue to be the same we've always been, or we can look at the state of mankind and everybody makes a small change in their personal life that affects the greater good. An example could be America. How do you not have socialized healthcare, man? How do you guys not have healthcare for every human being in your country as a right? I understand Marxism, I get it, socialism, I get it, communism, I get it. But we have it in Canada. And as a Canadian, I walk down the street, I'm like, if anything happens, we're good. That's a great feeling to have. And it doesn't mean we're losing power because of it, or we're giving too much power to the government, or we're not independent. It's a great thing to have. So my prayer would be for the people who are sick right now to get better, obviously, and for you not to be one of those people who get sick. But after that, our prayer has to be that we learn something from the situation and we finally do something about the healthcare situation in the States. That's just one small group of people. That's just one small thing. Let's look at it globally. Globally, what? Maybe we can get off our Instagrams for a moment and stop posting photos of like cars that won't matter if you can't get toilet paper. Stop posting photos of like big houses that won't matter. Stop posting photos of yourself in a bikini if you're a female for the likes. Because the real thing that's going to matter is the relationship that you have. That's what's going to make you happy. Maybe we can focus more on the inward journey, focus on each other more, taking care of each other. I think the beautiful thing that's come out of this is that as human beings, we're no longer focused on just our selfishness. We're focused on how can we help other people by our actions. That is a beautiful thing to happen. If you're staying in your home, you're not doing it for yourself, you're doing it for the person that you don't even know. That's a beautiful thing. Now, there's also a possibility that this whole thing just is a big media scam and the numbers are completely wrong, and one day we wake up and we're like, man, everything was just a complete scam and overhyped, and some experts that are saying that as well. There's experts saying that this is not going to really change much, and it's the same as a regular cold or H1N1, regular flu, I mean. But there's a possibility that it could go the other ways, and we got to be prepared for that. But what can we learn from it? That's the real thing. What can we learn? All right? To put our selfishness aside, to connect with friends and family, to be entrepreneurs in our own right, to take care of ourselves. Maybe you're going to learn to finally save a paycheck and not be living paycheck to paycheck. If you've been doing that for so far, you had nothing in the bank account. Right? Finally stop living paycheck to paycheck. Finally decide to put 2 weeks or a month of pay aside in a safety account or in gold, and don't let that go anywhere. Not be spending every dollar you get it. I mean, heck, you're going to finally learn to not have consumerism affect you and drive your decisions. Because listen, if you had $1,000 to blow right now or $2,000, you couldn't even be able to blow it. There's no restaurant to go to. There's no bag to go get. There's no shoes to go buy. Nothing, right? So you couldn't even blow the money if you wanted to. So it's going to retrain you to be positive, retrain you to focus on things that make you happy, that are satisfying, that aren't necessarily all in commercial. You have the biggest opportunity of your fucking life right now. That was the point of me and you talking here today, to say that you have the biggest opportunity you've ever had, and you probably will ever have. You were blessed to not be in a war of the World War I or World War II. You were blessed to not have that gruesome reality on your hands. But you have another reality, and the opportunity is even bigger now than it was for the previous generations. I challenge you. Yes, you. I'm talking to you personally, not a mass audience. You personally. I challenge you to walk out of this a better person and not be the same. I really do. And if you're not going to do it for yourself, again, do it for the people who are sick, people that will be sick. So that in the future, when your kids look back and they say, hey, during the whole coronavirus thing, what did you do? You're like, oh, well, got drunk with the buddies. I don't want that to be a thing, man. I'm sure you don't want to get that answer either. When your kids look back and they say, what did you do in the situation? Say, I changed our life. I changed our lives. I became a better person in every way possible. I focused on my health. I couldn't make it to a gym, so I made my own gym. I learned what it means to make things for myself. I challenged myself to go inside and conquer my fears and my demons, become a better human being. I challenged myself to say what was I good at and harness those things and turn it into personal power. I connected with relatives and family that I had become distant with. I got to know the real me. That's what I challenge you to do, because you will never have an opportunity in your life probably to do this again. Don't be like the ones that are slacking off and doing nothing. Don't be that person that goes back in April to his work just being the same, stuck in mediocrity. Don't be that person. Don't be like them. Be different, be unique. And if you're watching this far, I know a part of you is already. Continue to do that. Right here is the moment that you've been waiting for. The golden opportunity. So like I said before, and I'll say it again, so it sinks in, hop on one of those calls with us. The free one-on-one mentor calls. Do that. Because I may not be doing this forever. Right now I'm in my home and I have a lot of time to chat with you, and I'm going to do that. But I'm not going to be doing that for forever, definitely. Business models are going to change, and the way that I communicate with students will definitely change. The whole world is going to change. But now that you have the opportunity, and we do together, get on the phone with me and my team, chat to us. Let's figure out how we can give you an action plan to be everything that you want to be during this time and become a hustler and make something out of this time that you have alone. Chat to us, get help. Don't say, oh, I can do it myself. If you would have done it by yourself, you would have done it already. But we all know you didn't. There's no shame in that. So do it now with the assistance that it's there. Do it, okay? Click the link that's below down here. We'll put it in the comments and the description as well. Jump on the phone with me and my team, book a call while they're available before we're flooded with them. And I'd be more than happy to help you in really not feeling alone and isolated during this time. It's important that, dude, it's so important because your mental sanity, your mental clarity is going to be what gets you through this. This lockdown won't be 15 days. Are you kidding me? Think about it. China had to do it for about 3 months. You're looking at a month and a half, 2 months probably minimum. Let's be real to flatten the curve. You got to stay mentally sharp during that time. You got to have support during that time. Hop on the phone with us. Let's get that for you. So these are my thoughts and my dreams and hopes for you during this time of crisis. And I want you to benefit from the situation. I want you to help others benefit from it. And I know it's very shocking. We started with some scary news of how this could go socially. And I've studied social dynamics for many years, how it could go with people, but I've also given you an opportunity. I want to show you some epiphanies of the other way it could go, and also get some tools in your hands so you can actually make that change that you want to make. I want to thank you very much for watching. Stay tuned for the next few weeks. We're going to be dropping some awareness videos you can do from the comfort of your home to allow you to meditate and really go within. As always, keep in touch and don't be a stranger. Cheers.